Welcome to my channel Valuable Coins, All World. If you've ever wondered if those old coins you have lying around could be worth a fortune, you're in the right place. In today's video, we're diving into some of the rarest US coins, revealing their jaw-dropping values that will leave you amazed. Stick with us till the end. You won't want to miss what these hidden treasures could be worth. Let's get started. Top 1. Today? That's right. In this video, we're diving deep into the fascinating world of numismatics to explore the incredible story of the 1965 United States Washington quarter dollar and why it has captivated collectors around the world. The Washington quarter has been a staple of American coinage since 1932, introduced to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. Over the decades, its design has remained largely consistent, showcasing the iconic profile of the first U.S. president on the obverse, or front, with an eagle perched proudly on the reverse. But what makes the 1965 quarter stand out from the rest? Why are some of these coins being sought after like rare artifacts? Let's unravel the mystery to understand why the 1965 quarter is so special. We have to step back into history for a moment. Up until 1964, quarters were made primarily of 90% silver. But rising silver prices in the early 1960s forced the U.S. Mint to make a big change. Beginning in 1965, they stopped using silver in most circulating coins and began minting quarters using a copper-nickel-clad composition instead. While this change was supposed to make coin production cheaper and more sustainable, it inadvertently set the stage for one of the most intriguing coin anomalies in American history. When the transition to the new metal composition began, millions of 1965 dated quarters were struck using the new copper-nickel planchets. However, in the shuffle and rush of mass production, it's believed that a few silver planchets, those meant for the previous year's coins, were mistakenly used to strike 1965 quarters. This error, rare as it was, has turned those few surviving silver quarters into absolute legends in the numismatic world. They look almost identical to the standard clad coins at a glance, but weigh slightly more and produce a very distinctive ring when dropped on a hard surface. This has made them incredibly valuable to collectors who know what to look for. Imagine being the lucky person to find one of these rare errors in an old coin jar, or at the bottom of a drawer filled with forgotten change. You might be holding something that most people would overlook as just another quarter, but in reality, it's a tiny metallic time capsule from a transitional moment in U.S. monetary history. These rare 1965 silver quarters represent a striking mistake during a pivotal year, a small glitch that turned into a collector's dream. Even outside the silver era versions, the 1965 quarter has been closely examined for a variety of other minting errors and varieties that can significantly affect value. Some of these include double dies, off-center strikes, and planchet flaws. These imperfections can be subtle, but to a trained eye, and with the help of a magnifying glass or a good microscope, they can turn a basic coin into a highly desirable item. The passion for discovering these anomalies fuels a vibrant community of coin hunters who trade tips, show off finds, and constantly chase the thrill of uncovering that one-in-a-million piece. But let's get to the heart of it. You're probably wondering just how much one of these rare 1965 Washington quarters can actually be worth. Well, most ordinary 1965 quarters are only worth their face value, just 25 cents, because they were minted in huge quantities. But the rare silver planchet error? That's a different story entirely. When one of these rare coins appears at auction, it becomes the centerpiece of fierce bidding wars, often among the most elite coin collectors and institutions. And now, for the part you've been waiting for. One particular 1965 Washington quarter dollar, confirmed to have been struck on a 90% silver planchet, was sold in a public auction for an astonishing amount of money. That coin, once mistaken as just an ordinary piece of loose change, was eventually valued and sold for $145,000. Yes, you heard that right. $145,000 for a single quartered S.O. The next time you're sifting through your spare change or stumbling across a dusty old coin collection, take a closer look. Hidden among the ordinary could be a rare piece of history, a 1965 Washington quarter that might just make you the next lucky collector to strike gold, or in this case, silver. Keep searching, keep dreaming, and always look twice, because sometimes the treasure is already in your hands. Would you like a version of this script formatted for voiceover pacing? Top 2. Imagine stumbling across a coin in your change jar that seems entirely ordinary, just another Washington quarter tossed aside and forgotten. You look at the date, 1970, and think nothing of it. But what if I told you that this very coin, this unassuming piece of metal, might be one of the most sought-after treasures in modern American coin collecting? The 1970 United States of America Washington quarter dollar is no ordinary piece of currency. Behind its familiar design lies a mystery, a rare error, and a story that has made it one of the most talked about coins in numismatic circles. The Washington quarter has a long and proud history in American coinage. First minted in 1932, it was created to honor the 200th birthday of George Washington. Over the decades, the design has remained largely the same: Washington's strong and steady profile on the front, and on the back, a powerful eagle with wings outstretched. The 1970 quarter, like many before and after, may appear just like any other. It's copper-nickel, standard in weight and feel, and millions were minted that year. So why is it special? Why are collectors so obsessed with this seemingly average coin? The secret lies not just in the coin itself, but in what it was accidentally stamped on. You see, in rare cases, coins are mistakenly struck on planchets, metal blanks, that were never meant to be used. And in 1970, something extraordinary happened at the San Francisco Mint. A small number of Washington quarters were accidentally struck on leftover 1941 Canadian quarters. That's right, coins from another country, another denomination, and another metal composition found their way into the minting process. This kind of minting error is called an overstrike, and it's incredibly rare. When you look closely at one of these 1970s quarters, you might notice strange, ghostly images underneath the familiar Washington design. These are remnants of the original Canadian coin that was never fully erased by the American die. Some of these overstrikes show parts of the original 1941 date, the word Canada, or even hints of King George VI's profile bleeding through the metal like an ancient secret trying to be revealed. These hidden details are not only mesmerizing, but they are also what makes the coin so valuable. Each one is a unique piece of history, a perfect storm of timing, error, and coincidence. The fact that the error occurred at the San Francisco Mint makes it even more intriguing. Coins struck here often have smaller mintages and are generally more collectible. Add in the fact that this overstrike involves another country's coin, and you have a once-in-a-lifetime collectible that defies logic. It's the kind of coin that fuels the dreams of treasure hunters and coin enthusiasts alike. It has everything a collector could want: rarity, mystery, and a bizarre origin story. But even beyond the Canadian overstrike variety, 1970 quarters have been known to feature other fascinating anomalies, such as double dies, off-center strikes, and misaligned planchets. Each of these can boost the value of the coin, depending on its condition and how visible the error is. Coin experts spend countless hours inspecting quarters from this era, hoping to catch a glimpse of something the average eye might miss. With just a magnifier, patience, and a little luck, someone could discover one of these rare gems hiding in plain sight. You might now be wondering, how could such a mistake even happen? The U.S. Mint handles millions of coins a day. It's an intense environment where speed and efficiency rule. Sometimes, in the chaos of production, foreign planchets or leftover blanks from previous coinages slip through the cracks. When the presses strike, they imprint the wrong design on the wrong surface. And just like that, a rare coin is born. The Mint catches most of these errors, but once in a while, one escapes into the world, and that's when the hunt begins. Now imagine the thrill of being the one who finds it. You're rifling through a handful of change at the gas station, or maybe you're sorting through an old coin collection passed down through the family. Suddenly, something catches your eye. It's a 1970 quarter, but it feels different. You take a closer look. Could it be one of the ultra-rare overstruck coins, hiding in plain sight? It's moments like these that have sparked a new generation of collectors, all hoping to find their own piece of history. And now, after all this talk of mystery and rarity, you're probably wondering, what is a coin like this actually worth? How much value can be hidden in something as small as a quarter? Well, one of these incredibly rare 1970 Washington quarters, struck over a 1941 Canadian coin and verified for authenticity, didn't just sell for a few hundred or a couple $1,000s. It went for a staggering $115,000. That's right. What was once worth only 25 cents is now valued at $115,000. A coin you could have spent on a gumball might just buy you a luxury car or even a home. So next time you're flipping through your change or organizing an old jar of coins, Take your time. Examine each quarter. Look for unusual textures, ghost images, or anything that seems off. Because you never know when you might hold a piece of numismatic magic. A coin that proves history, rarity, and human error can come together to create something truly priceless. Keep your eyes open, your magnifier handy, and your curiosity alive. You just might find your own treasure, one quarter at a time. Would you like this script adapted for a voiceover with pacing cues or visual suggestions? Top 3. It's amazing how often we overlook the small things in life, like the loose change rattling around in our pockets, sitting forgotten at the bottom of a drawer, or collecting dust in a jar on a kitchen shelf. Among these everyday coins, some may appear so ordinary that we barely give them a second glance. But sometimes, within the sea of change lies a hidden treasure, an unexpected gem disguised as a simple Washington quarter. And today, we're turning the spotlight onto one of the most surprising and valuable of them all, the 1983 United States of America Washington quarter dollar. At first glance, the 1983 quarter seems just like any other. It features the familiar profile of George Washington, a design introduced in 1932 to celebrate the bicentennial of the first president's birth. On the reverse, you'll find the powerful image of a bald eagle with its wings spread wide, perched on a bundle of arrows, a symbol of American strength and vigilance. It's a design we've all seen countless times. But make no mistake, what makes the 1983 quarter so extraordinary isn't its artwork. It's the story behind its production, the conditions under which it was made, and the rare errors that occurred during that time. In 1983, the U.S. Mint was dealing with a unique set of challenges. The country was still recovering from a recession, and cost-cutting measures were affecting almost every industry, including coin production. As a result, the quality of coins minted in 1983 was not up to the usual standard. Unlike many other years, no official mint sets were produced that year. This means collectors couldn't buy pristine versions of the coins directly from the mint, which significantly limited the number of high-quality examples available. Almost every 1983 quarter that exists today entered circulation, meaning it was used, spent, handled, and worn down over the years. This scarcity of uncirculated 1,983 quarters makes them highly sought after by collectors, especially in top condition. But there's even more to the story. During the coin striking process at the Philadelphia Mint, a rare and significant error occurred on a small number of 1,983 quarters, errors that would turn an everyday coin into an incredibly valuable artifact. These error coins are known as double dies. A double die happens when the die used to strike the coin has a slight misalignment or shift, creating a faint but visible doubling of letters, numbers, or features on the coin. In the case of the 1983 quarter, some coins show clear doubling on the inscriptions, such as Liberty and In God We Trust, as well as on the date itself. These errors are not always noticeable to the casual observer, but to an experienced collector or a sharp-eyed enthusiast, they can be worth more than their weight in gold. What makes these error coins even more desirable is the already limited number of quality 1983 quarters due to the lack of mint sets. Combine rarity with an error, and you have a coin that can spark intense bidding wars amongst serious collectors. Another fascinating feature seen in a few rare 1983 quarters is known as the spitting eagle variety. This term refers to a die break that appears as a small raised line extending from the eagle's beak, giving the appearance that the eagle is spitting. It's a small flaw, a tiny imperfection created during the minting process, but like many things in numismatics, imperfections often equal value. Collectors are fascinated by these kinds of anomalies because they tell a story of how coins are made and how even the most advanced machinery can't prevent human error from slipping into circulation. So, you might be wondering, could you have one of these valuable quarters without even knowing it? The answer is yes. Millions of 1983 quarters were minted, and while most of them are just worth 25 cents, a small handful have sold for amounts that are hard to believe. The key is in the condition and the details. A 1983 quarter in pristine condition with no signs of wear is already uncommon. Add in a doubling error or a die break, and you have something truly exceptional. It's the kind of discovery that fuels the dreams of collectors all over the world. Imagine walking into a coin shop with a pocket full of old change, only to find out that one of those quarters is something special. Or picture yourself flipping through a childhood coin collection that's been sitting in a box for decades. All it takes is one rare 1983 quarter, one overlooked detail, one imperfection to turn an ordinary moment into something unforgettable. The thrill of coin collecting isn't just about money, it's about discovery, history, and the joy of finding beauty and value in the most unexpected places. And among all the hidden treasures in American coinage, the 1983 Washington quarter dollar stands tall as a reminder that even in the most routine objects, there can be stories waiting to be told and treasures waiting to be found. So, just how valuable can one of these rare 1983 quarters be? In the world of numismatics, where rarity, condition, and historical significance all converge, the price of such a coin can be truly astonishing. One particularly rare and well-preserved 1983 Washington quarter, featuring a dramatic double-die error and excellent strike quality, has fetched an incredible price at auction. That coin, once worth just 25 cents, was sold for an unbelievable amount of $95,000. Let that sink in. $95,000 for a coin that many people would never give a second thought. So next time you reach into your pocket for change, take a closer look. That humble quarter might just be the key to unlocking a piece of hidden history and maybe even a small fortune. Would you like a version of this script styled specifically for a voiceover or presentation format? Top 4. Sometimes, the most unexpected things turn out to be treasures. A dusty box in the attic, an old toy from childhood, or even a coin that's been sitting unnoticed in your pocket or rattling around in your change jar for years. Today, we're going to talk about one of those hidden gems that might seem totally ordinary, but could be worth far more than its face value. That coin is the 1988 United States of America Washington quarter dollar. At first glance, it looks like just another piece of everyday change, but as we're about to discover, there's a lot more to it than meets the eye. The Washington quarter has a long-standing place in American history. First introduced in 1932 to honor the bicentennial of George Washington's birth, its design has remained mostly unchanged for decades. With George Washington's bold profile on the front and a majestic eagle clutching arrows on the back, the quarter is a coin almost every American has held in their hand. The 1988 edition followed the same classic design, struck in copper-nickel clad, and was produced by the millions. So, how could something so common become so valuable? The answer lies in rarity, condition, and some fascinating minting mistakes that make certain 1988 quarters incredibly collectible. In 1988, the U.S. Mint was operating full throttle, producing billions of coins to keep up with the demands of circulation. The Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco mints all contributed to the quarter's production that year. While the overwhelming majority of these coins were minted perfectly and released into general use, a tiny number of them were struck with rare errors, mistakes that escaped the mint's quality control and made it into the hands of everyday Americans. One of the most sought-after variations of the 1988 quarter involves a striking error known as a double die. This error happens when the coin die shifts slightly during the minting process, causing letters and numbers to appear doubled. On the 1988 quarter, some error coins showed doubling on Washington's face, particularly around the eye and nose, as well as on the inscriptions like "Liberty" and "In God We Trust." These doubled features are subtle but striking to the trained eye, and collectors pay top dollar for examples that are clear and well-preserved. But that's not the only variety that makes 1988 quarters valuable. Another rare and captivating error is the off-center strike. Imagine a quarter where the design isn't centered properly, where parts of the image or text are cut off at the edge and a crescent of blank metal remains. This happens when the coin blank, also called a planchet, isn't correctly aligned in the press. These kinds of mistakes are rare, and the more dramatic the misalignment, the more valuable the coin tends to be. Some off-center 1988 quarters are missing up to 20% of their design, making them a dream find for collectors. There's also the elusive wrong planchet error. In a few extreme cases, 1988 quarters were struck on planchets meant for other coins, like dimes or foreign denominations. These coins have the wrong weight, the wrong color, and sometimes even the wrong size, which makes them immediately stand out once you know what to look for. Spotting one of these rare minting anomalies can turn an ordinary day into an unforgettable discovery. Condition is another major factor in determining the value of a 1988 quarter. Coins that have been in circulation usually show signs of wear, scratches, dings, faded details. But a small number of these quarters have survived in near-perfect condition, either because they were kept in collections or accidentally forgotten in storage. These uncirculated coins, especially those with errors, can be incredibly valuable. Collectors are always on the lookout for high-grade examples, particularly those graded MS 65 or higher by professional grading services. In such pristine condition, even a non-error coin can command attention. But when rarity and perfect condition combine, the result is pure gold for coin enthusiasts. Now imagine this. You're flipping through a handful of change, maybe preparing to roll coins for the bank or simply counting out quarters for a vending machine. Your eyes pass over a 1988 quarter, something you've seen countless times before. But maybe, just maybe, this one has a slight doubling you hadn't noticed before. Or maybe its edges are a little off, the lettering slightly misaligned. You take a closer look, your heart racing as you begin to suspect you've found something rare. That's the kind of moment collectors live for, and the kind of story that has made the 1988 Washington Quarter one of the most quietly exciting coins out there. So, why is this coin making headlines in the world of numismatics? Because it's not just about a coin being old or rare. It's about the right combination of error, preservation, and a little bit of luck. All these elements came together in a single 1988 Washington Quarter dollar that stunned experts and collectors alike when it hit the auction block. That particular coin, featuring a clear double die error and preserved in nearly flawless condition, sold for a jaw-dropping amount. A coin that many would dismiss as spare change was recognized as an incredible artifact of minting history and traded hands for an unbelievable sum of $75,000. That's right, $75,000 for a single quarter. It's proof that you never know what treasures might be hiding in plain sight. So the next time you're handed change at the store, or you're sorting through an old pile of coins at home, take a moment. Flip over that quarter. Look at the date. Pay attention to the small details. Because you might just be holding on to a fortune and not even know it. Would you like a short version of this script for TikTok or YouTube Shorts as well? Top 5. Every day, we pass coins through our hands without a second thought, dropping them into vending machines, collecting them in jars, or tossing them onto the dresser at the end of the day. Most of us rarely take the time to look closely. But what if I told you that one of those common coins, a Washington Quarter from the year 1991, could actually be worth far more than its face value? In fact, some versions of this seemingly ordinary coin are so rare and desirable, they've turned into incredible treasures for lucky collectors. The 1991 United States of America Washington Quarter dollar is one of those surprising coins, humble in appearance, but full of hidden value. Let's start by talking about the design, which has become a familiar symbol of American currency. Since its introduction in 1932, the Washington Quarter has maintained a strong and consistent design. On the front, we see the determined profile of George Washington, with the word Liberty above his head and the national motto, "In God We Trust," to the left. On the back, an American bald eagle with outstretched wings sits above a bundle of arrows and olive branches, an image representing both strength and peace. The 1991 quarter shares this classic look, struck in copper nickel clad by the Philadelphia and Denver mints for general circulation, and also by the San Francisco mint for collectors and proof sets. Now, here's where the story gets interesting. While most 1991 quarters are incredibly common and worth no more than 25 cents, there are rare exceptions that break the mold. These are coins that escape the mint with errors, accidental imperfections that occurred during the striking process. And in the world of coin collecting, errors are not flaws, they're golden opportunities. Some of these errors are so scarce that collectors are willing to pay thousands of dollars to own one. So what kinds of mistakes make a 1991 quarter truly valuable? One of the most well-known and valuable types of mint error is the double die. This happens when the die used to strike the coin shifts slightly between strikes, causing the design elements, letters, numbers, and even parts of Washington's face to appear doubled. On the 1991 quarter, certain examples show doubling in key areas such as United States of America, In God We Trust, and even the date itself. These errors can be difficult to spot without magnification, but once identified, they can elevate a quarter from spare change to an item of serious worth. Another rare and collectible variation is the off-center strike. This occurs when the coin blank is not properly centered during the minting process. The result? A quarter where part of the design is cut off, and a crescent of smooth, unstruck metal remains. The more dramatic the off-center strike, the higher the coin's value, especially if the date is still clearly visible. It's a mistake that turns a common coin into something truly unique, something that no other collector can exactly duplicate. Then, There's the possibility of a wrong planchet error. In some rare cases, a 1991 Washington quarter was accidentally struck on a planchet intended for a different coin, such as a dime or even a foreign coin. This kind of error results in a coin with the wrong weight, diameter, or color. When certified and authenticated, these wrong planchet errors can command very high prices at auction due to their extreme rarity. But even without striking errors, the condition of a coin plays a massive role in determining its value. Most 1991 quarters were heavily circulated, and today they show clear signs of wear, scratches, nicks, and faded details. But finding a 1991 quarter in mint state, meaning it has never been used and shows no signs of wear, is much more difficult. Coins graded MS 65 or higher by professional grading services are especially sought after, and when these coins also happen to include a rare mint error, their value increases exponentially. Think about it. How many 1991 quarters have passed through gas stations, cash registers, and drive-thrus over the years? The odds that a rare one could survive unnoticed are slim. That's what makes these finds so exciting. Imagine being the person who stumbles upon one. You're sorting through old coins, maybe checking an inherited collection, or just glancing at your change from the grocery store. Suddenly, you spot a small detail, something unusual, perhaps a doubling in the text or an oddly off-center strike. What looks like just another quarter starts to take on a new glow. That's when the thrill kicks in, the thrill of realizing you might be holding something far more valuable than it appears, and these aren't just speculative dreams. Real collectors have discovered real 1991 quarters with rare errors that have fetched extraordinary prices. These coins don't just represent money, they represent history, rarity, and the perfect blend of timing and luck. They're reminders that even the most common objects can hold incredible stories, and that value can be hiding in plain sight. So now comes the moment of truth. Among all the rare and valuable 1991 Washington quarters ever discovered, one coin in particular made headlines in the numismatic world. It featured a sharp and dramatic double-die error and had been preserved in exceptional, near-pristine condition. After expert grading and confirmation of its rarity, this single 1991 quarter crossed the auction block and sold for an absolutely stunning amount. That quarter, which started life worth just 25 cents, was sold for an unbelievable total of $65,000. Yes, you heard that right. $65,000 for one quarter. It's a testament to how the smallest and most overlooked things in life can sometimes be the most valuable. So next time you get change from a cashier or clean out your glove compartment, take a moment. Flip over that quarter, check the date, and look closely. Because the next great discovery might already be in your hands, you just have to notice it. Would you like a script like this turned into a narrated video storyboard?